Hello. Oh, my camera is like not even remotely adjusted. I've got my butt in front of the screen, but I haven't actually. There we go. How's everybody doing? Hello. Welcome to Eclectic Witchcraft 101. Today is just going to be a casual chat about the Samhain season and things that are fun to do and traditions and anything you guys want to share and chat about or questions you have about Samhain. I'll do my best. Hello, TC's Life. Hi, Carrie. I have a delicious mug of coffee, which is desperately needed. Hi, Amanda. Hi, Persephone. Or Persephone Rising. I'm just going to call you Persephone now. I made a cup of coffee, and it was like, I used my Keurig, and it was like only half full, and I was like, unacceptable. So I topped it up. Hi, Cheryl. How is everybody doing? Hi, Amy. Does everybody have something good to drink or snack on? I was trying to figure out how I wanted to format today's chat. I was like, well, we could dive into like history and all this kind of stuff. And to be honest, you guys, my memory and my understanding of history, not my strong suit. I'm good at talking about sort of my practices or the things that I like to do, but not so much with the history piece. But I did grab my little altar, what do you call this? My Book of Shadows artwork from a previous witchy box, so that we have a little bit of tidbits of info that we can chat about. Keurigs are the best. Drinking coffee too. Yes, yes. It's that kind of a day. Hi, Rebecca. Ooh, apple cinnamon tea. That's perfect for the chat. Perfect for the season. Now I want some of that. Thanks. Coffee suddenly seems underwhelming. TC's Life. I don't know much about the Sabbats. Can you give a brief description of what it's about? Yeah, I'll definitely chat about the bits and pieces that I've picked up here and there. It's funny because Samhain is one of the Sabbats that I never miss. And it's interesting to me because the two Sabbats that I think I get the most, well, I should say three, because Yule I get excited about too. But Celestial Season, I think I have some, maybe I don't. Maybe I'm full of crap. I might be full of crap. Lucy, why is it hiding your comment? Silly. There we go. Bengal spice. I love Bengal spice. I should have some of that over there. Yeah, it's the season to get into all the delicious teas. I really like, one of the ones that I love for the season is called Forever Nuts. And it's by, I think they're a Canadian company, maybe they're not, but David's Tea. And it's all like, it literally tastes like apples and spices. Oh no, we're just chatting. Jennifer, welcome. It tastes, I add a little bit of cream to it. It's got a little bit of beetroot in it, so it turns pink. It's really pretty. It's like red, but then when you add creamer to it, like I do, then it's it's a pretty shade of pink, which is one of the things I love about it, of course. But with vanilla creamer, it literally tastes like apple pie a la mode. That's what it tastes like. It's amazing. It's very nutty and fruity, but it's so good. Hi, long hair, skinny eye toe. Yeah, so super casual chat on Samhain because it is the season. And I was like, if we're gonna have an eclectic witchcraft chat in the month of October, we need to talk about Samhain. So for me, what's interesting is that the three Sabbats that I get the most excited about, or that I tend to not miss observing, are Samhain, Yule, and Beltane. And it was interesting to me when I was looking at the Wheel of the Year earlier today, because I was like, oh yeah, because Samhain and Beltane are actually across the Wheel of the Year from each other. In fact, I might be able to pull up a graphic here of the Wheel of the Year and pull it up on the screen so you guys know what I'm talking about. Let's find a pretty one. Give me 1 second here. Hi, Miriam. Oh, welcome to the live stream. It's fun to do these. I enjoy it. All right, so if we pull up, let's pull up a nice big pretty one. This one works. Open image in new tab. Let me just share this with you guys. So share tab. Boop. Did it work? Yes. So Samhain is up here in the sort of, well, that section. Forget it mirrors me. So right across from it is Beltane. And those are both, well, there's 4 fire festivals and there's 4 quarters and cross quarters. So I've seen this referred to differently in different places. I always assumed that the quarters are Yule, the spring equinox, the summer solstice, and Mabon, which is the fall equinox. So I see the quarters as the solstices and the equinoxes. So Yule falls on the winter solstice, which is, we've kind of covered this in the like a Sabbath overview, but Yule is like when the day and the night are completely not equal. So on Yule night, I need more coffee to explain this properly. On Yule night, we have the longest night and the shortest day. And on Midsummer Eve, we have the longest day and the shortest night. At the fall and spring equinoxes, the day and nights are equal. So to me, those are the quarters. And the cross quarters, or the 4 fire festivals, are the festivals that fall in between. And I think it's really interesting because these would be, all of these dates really are meant to mark the, I guess you want to say, sort of the agricultural year. So before electricity, and when we really lived off the land in a much more dependent kind of way, these would mark important points in that season. So knowing like the longest night would be a time of really enjoying your family and staying in, because you didn't have much daylight to get much work done, right? When you look at the longest day at midsummer, that was often a day of being outdoors and enjoying that experience of summer. And when we look at the turn of seasons, that was important to track for other reasons. When we start to look at the fire festivals, these were often important days for other reasons. And Samhain, in my understanding, which again, keep in mind, my technical knowledge of the Sabbats is incredibly limited. I'm more of like a practice-based kind of person. But when you think about Samhain, we've already had the fall equinox. So at this point in the agricultural year, we know that the days are starting to get a little bit shorter. By Samhain, that's kind of like your last chance in a way to finish any final harvesting that you have to do, make sure that food is stored up for winter, that kind of thing. So I feel like Samhain sort of marks a time of really intentional quieting when we're finally kind of done with the harvest work and we're ready to like turn inward. And for me personally, hi, Michelle. Hi, Jen. In case I didn't say hi, Jen. Did I just say hi, Jen? Hi, Dindrain and Gracia. So to me, I guess, Samhain always stands out as a really obvious season change time. And that's probably because I live in an area of the world. I've always lived in the northwest. How do I describe it now? I grew up in the northwest of the U.S. Now I live on the west coast of Canada. So I guess it's technically southwest.
Yeah, you're southwest now.
Which is weird for my brain. But I've always lived in a very temperate climate where like the season changes happen a little differently. They might happen someplace else. So I find that it doesn't really feel truly like fall until around Samhain. And then it feels very like fall. And then it's a very short fall. And then it's like winter. You know what I mean? So for me, Samhain always feels like fall. And anything that I would associate with fall, I tend to associate with Samhain. Even though Mabon is our official first day of fall and is the fall equinox where we're actually turning the wheel into fall, it doesn't feel like fall very much for me. Mabon feels more like late summer. I don't know if anybody else has that experience, but September's here tend to be pretty nice still. And then October is when we really start to see more rain and chilly weather come in, more fog. Like sort of typical fall weather. I guess you could see a lot more of the trees and their colors are showing up in October in this area of the world. So it may be different elsewhere. I don't know. That's what it's like here. So for me, Samhain is like pumpkin spice latte season. It's fall time. It's like official fall time. So that's my experience. I'm curious to hear what your guys is like. Is Samhain a Sabbath that you, if you do work with the Sabbats, is this one of your big ones? Is this one that's like kind of meh for you? Because I certainly have Sabbats that are kind of meh for me. Samhain's just not one of them. Maisie Meg, yes, I live in Phoenix, Arizona, and fall doesn't happen till the end of October to mid-November. So you guys are even later than we are up here. Yeah, Carrie says, I agree. Mabon feels like late summer to me too. Yeah, exactly. I think it just depends on your set of, I guess, your relationship to the weather in your area too, whether it feels like very fall-ish. But of course, Samhain, when I was first learning about Wicca and witchcraft and all of these things, Samhain just felt like a really big deal because, of course, when I think of witchy things, I think of Halloween. You know what I mean? So there's this association. So it feels like the witchiest of all of the holidays for sure. I also think it's one of those times of the year where a lot of us have the easiest time when it comes to connecting to spirit or feeling that sense of the veil being thin, which is one of the things associated with this particular Sabbat. So at Samhain and at Beltane, the veil is very thin with us in the spirit world. So we have this idea that we can communicate better outside of our realm. You know what I mean? So things like scrying and divination and connecting with spirit and channeling and all these kinds of things suddenly feel a lot more accessible for a lot of us. TC's like, we have frost warnings tonight, so definitely fall. Carrie says, Samhain is my number 2. Yule is number 1 favorite. Okay, that's cool. The funny thing about me with Yule is probably my favorite time of year, because I just enjoy the coziness and the time with family and all of that kind of stuff. And yet, in a lot of ways, it still feels very much like Christmas because I was always raised with a secular Christmas. It was never a religious Christmas. So Yule and Christmas to me are very mushed up together into one delightful mush. TC's live. How do the Sabbats work for those in the southern hemisphere? Is it Beltane there? Yes. So they are exactly opposite of us. So wherever we are in the northern hemisphere on the wheel, they're exactly opposite because, of course, their seasons run opposite to ours. So at our midsummer, they're celebrating midwinter. It's actually kind of neat when you think about how the southern hemisphere and the northern hemisphere are both moving with the cycle of the year in exactly the opposite way. It kind of literally helps you to visualize the wheel. If you think about it, like we're up here at Yule, they're down there at midsummer. It makes so much sense. It makes the wheel actually make sense. Rebecca McDonald, I'm a fall person. Samhain is my jam. I've noticed this year in my area, Maryland, the acorns started to fall in August. So I'm thinking we're headed to a bad winter. Oh, they fell early? Peggy was telling me something about that. I can't remember. What did you hear about winter?
Donna was telling me that all the plants were coming in early this year, which means that winter's going to start early and be a little rough.
Yeah, so her friend Donna was. Yeah, Jennifer says my dreams are getting crazy with the veil thinning. So yeah, that's another thing that can happen is a lot of us feel closer to, we get more of those messages coming in. So dreams get crazy. To me, you know what it is? The energy of Samhain feels very much like the energy of the full moon, but bigger. So if you have the kind of experiences you might have around the full moon, that's the kind of experiences I feel like I have around Samhain time, but it stretches out for a longer period of time and it feels more intense. Yeah, Carrie says my dreams are getting super vivid too. Yeah. So I thought I would just open up the table. We could have like an open discussion Q&A about Samhain things. There's a lot of different things I've done over the years to mark the season and to work with the energies of Samhain. And there's a few mainstays that I think I always kind of go to. I also put down below, because this is a piece I am not great at, I put 2 links down below. One I found and one was sent to me by the beautiful Marian of Marian K. Tarot. One of them is a really nice, good, I read through it, it felt good to me, a history.com article on Samhain. And I also have linked below an article that Marian sent me about the origins of the jack-o'-lantern. But I think the reason that another thing is about Samhain feeling really super witchy to me is that a lot of the secular traditions around Samhain, similarly to Yule, a lot of the secular traditions of Samhain, of Halloween rather, correlate very directly to Samhain traditions. So the things that you would associate maybe as a kid with Samhain, like bobbing for apples or carving out jack-o'-lanterns, those are very witchy pagan things. And they have a very witchy pagan origin.
Hey, come here.
Doggos are excited. So I love anything that I associate with Halloween. I tend to also associate with Samhain. I don't know if anybody else has a different experience, but that is definitely me. So I love all the spooky things. I love all the things connected to the spirit world. I definitely love diving into more divination during the month of October and leading up to Samhain. And then in the weeks, usually I find that the energy is the strongest a week and a half to 2 weeks before Samhain Eve, and then a week and a half to 2 weeks following Samhain Eve is when it's like the most potent. But really, it feels very seasonal to me. So I would say I feel the effects of Samhain for most of October and November. Usually, I'm feeling it a little bit. Carrie says, I'm thinking of trying a spirit board this Samhain. I have been wanting to try spirit board for the longest time. My issue is I don't want to work with a Ouija board specifically. I would like to get an actual board that isn't from Hasbro. You know what I mean? So that's on my wish list for someday. I think that when it comes to anything like that, when it comes to conscious spirit communication, I think it can be a really powerful thing to do. I do think it's important to, in order to feel comfortable, to have some sort of sacred space and some sort of divine protection set up for yourself. So whether that's shielding, casting a circle, cleansing the space, being really clear about what energies you're going to allow in and which energies you're not open to. I think those are all really important things for any kind of spirit work. So I'd recommend that. That's the kind of thing that I would put into place if I was going to be playing with a spirit board. But I haven't ever worked with one, to be completely honest. I don't think I've ever. You and I have never played with a spirit board, like a Ouija board. No, I didn't think so. We talked about it. We had one at one point, didn't we? But it was so cheap. It was like a board with like a plastic glow in the dark.
We never got around to it.
Yeah, we never used it, but like we had it. It was just, it felt so cheap and chintzy to me.
We never got around to it, and by the time we decided we had time for it, I think it was already starting to warp.
Something, yeah. Parker Navarro, I haven't seen it yet, but the Witches box is having custom spirit boards in the. You're kidding. Oh, my heart. I subscribed to them. Actually, they were one of the first subscription boxes I ever tried, and it was October 2018? Maybe 2019? Had to be 2018. No? Yeah, had to be 2018. Anyways, let me know how that works out. That sounds really cool. I could see the Witch's Moon. The Witch's Moon usually has a really awesome box at Halloween time too. Any of the witchy subscription boxes, if they don't knock it out of the park for Halloween, like, get out of here. What are you doing? No, I don't need to have that Wheel of the Year up anymore. Let's see, Darcy. Around Samhain is one of the times I connect best with Hades and Persephone. Yes, and my dog Zoe, who passed a few years ago. It's a really great time to connect with those who have passed. There's a lot of really cool traditions around Samhain, some of which I've participated in over the years and some of which I haven't. I really enjoy the association of the apple with this time of year, just fall in general. But I really enjoy, I think this is actually technically a Maven tradition, but there's a thing where you can take an apple and you can cut it, not the way you normally cut it, so that you're cutting into the core, from top to bottom of the apple, but you turn it on its side and you cut it, and there's a pentagram inside. There's actually a apple seed divination you can do. You can probably find it online. I've done it before, like maybe once or twice. Oh, Jennifer, you're fine. My dad's side of the family is Mexican. We celebrate Dia de los Muertos, and it feels very pagan to me. Yeah, there's a lot of association with Dia de los Muertos as well. Honoring the dead, the altar with the offerings, the significance of colors. Totally agree. In fact, that reminds me, there's a really cute movie that is about it's like a kid's cartoon movie, because of course that's my jam, about Dia de los Muertos that I want to watch. So I've made a few notes because I know it's going to be all over the place, because Samhain is just literally, if somebody tells me that it's a good thing or fun thing to do at Samhain, I've probably done it or wanted to do it at some point. But yeah, anything associated with apples, I associate with Samhain. Anything associated with gourds and pumpkins and corn. For me, I feel like Samhain is the quintessential fall Sabbat, and I don't often really do anything special for Mavens. So in a lot of ways in my personal practice, Samhain time is when yes, Coco. The film is called Coco. Thank you, Poets Tarot Corner. I love that you guys know what I'm saying when I'm all over the place like this. Hi, Sue. What was I saying? Oh, pumpkins. I forget. Corn mazes. Oh, quintessential fall stuff. I was just saying that anything I associate with fall, I tend to associate with Samhain specifically. Peggy and I went to the Spirit Halloween store, and we vlogged that experience. This is where I got this mug, this As Above, So Below mug, which is pretty awesome. It's a really nice heavy mug, and it's purple on the inside, which is everything. But pumpkin carving is such a great fun thing, and there's awesome traditions there. I mean, the pumpkin carving tradition, the jack-o'-lantern tradition, is really about warding away evil spirits, right? So because the veil is thin, and this was such a deeply understood truth in ancient times or older times, I'm not going to try to use the right word there. But historically, it was considered to be a time when the veil was thin, and there was a lot of superstitions around that time of year, around Halloween Eve or Samhain Eve. So the jack-o'-lanterns were meant to protect your home, to like scare away or ward away any of the spirits that had bad intent. So of course, any kind of carving, I'm down for. I don't want to touch the slippery goo that comes out of the middle, but I do love carving. Yes, and the moon phase, like, it's actually right here. It's like right next to me. Let's see. I was going to talk about, I had a couple things I wanted to mention. So one of the big things for Samhain is it's a time for honoring those who have passed on or reconnecting with those you've lost. It can be a really great time for specifically reaching out or in some way marking the passing of people who you've lost in the prior year. This is from Spirit Halloween Store. This As Above, So Below Poets Tarot Corner. It's Spirit Halloween Store. I forget how much it was. I think it was like 12 bucks, but it's literally, it says Spirit Halloween on the bottom, so it's theirs. Yes, Carrie, the dumb supper. I was going to mention that. So one of the traditions that happens in a lot of pagan circles and has historic roots, again, I'm not going to even try to sound like I know what I'm talking about there because I don't. But I've known a lot of people who have done dumb suppers. I've participated in dumb suppers in the past. But essentially, you make a fancy meal. Well, it doesn't have to be fancy, I suppose. But you make a meal, and you set the table, including place settings for your beloved departed or for the dead in general, like if you want to honor the dead in general. And so you would serve the meal, and essentially it was called the dumb supper because you were often silent during this meal. It was a meal in which you were inviting essentially those who had passed to come join you and to participate in the meal. It was a way of honoring them. So there would usually be a time where it was completely silent throughout the meal. And then, of course, the people who were participating in the meal would be open to that energy, right? And would be possibly thinking about those who have passed on and creating space in their attention for that, for those people that they'd lost. People and pets, right? Not always just people. We're also honoring our ancestors this year. Yeah, so a lot of ancestral work at Samhain time. And this has been a challenging thing. I was thinking about making an entire video on ancestral work, and I may still. But just to give you guys an idea, ancestral work can be really challenging for people because there's a lot of gunk tied up in ancestor work for a lot of people. So for me, I had a big breakthrough. It was either last year or the year before. I don't know why. I can't remember what things happened in 2018 and what things happened in 2019. I blame COVID, but I had this big breakthrough where I did an ancestor ritual, and it became very clear that who I was connecting with was spiritual ancestry rather than blood ancestry. And I said some really important words of power for myself around only welcoming in ancestral energies that had my best interest at heart, and things like that, to create some sort of boundaries around that practice, because that had always been the big barrier for me, is I don't really want to throw the doors wide open to energy that I don't really want to invite into my space right now. And how do I do ancestor magic and also honor those personal boundaries? And it can be a bit of a slippery slope. Amalthea says, I would love to honor my grandmother, but I'm in the broom closet. My grandma was very religious and probably wouldn't appreciate it. Well, that's a tricky thing. I'm not sure. How do I say this right? I think I have two minds. On one hand, part of me is like, is it different than going to a gravesite, for example, and leaving flowers? Is there anything inherently religious about, and I mean, that's something you have to, I guess, sort of unpack for yourself. Is it something that yeah, I'm not sure how I would navigate something like that. To be honest, I've always assumed that when I'm honoring somebody, the time of year that I'm honoring is for me more than it is for them, if that makes sense. So I would do what feels right to me. Maybe that sounds really selfish, but I would. If I felt like, if I actually believe that an ancestor of mine is currently residing in the spirit world and hasn't been reincarnated or moved on or whatnot, I feel like they wouldn't mind a quick phone call, spiritual phone call, to say hi and, hey, I hope you're well, and checking in with you. But it might, yeah, kind of what Carrie said, she might like the company. I bet your grandma will have a lot better understanding from where she's at now. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think my perspective on spirituality is kind of like we're all on spokes of the same wheel, right? So whatever you're practicing, we're all ultimately working on being good people. We're all ultimately working on connecting on evolving in whatever way makes sense to us, on living our best life. Amy, Lunasa is how I pronounce it. I'm not sure if other people pronounce it differently, but I believe that Lunasa is associated with the Celtic god Lu, the sun god. So Lunasa is how I say it. Yeah, Lunasa. Yeah, Samhain was one that a lot of people have call Samhain, because that's what it looks like when it's written out. It looks like, I'm literally playing with my chapstick. It looks like Samhain written out, but it's Samhain. Doggos are really antsy.
No.
Amanda says, we honor the living by giving people awards and accolades. We're just honoring those who are no longer with us. Exactly. It's like a way to say, hey, I miss you, and you were special to me, and I want to like pay homage to the wisdom that you've given me, or the gifts that you've given me throughout my life. There are certain times, okay, just like on Remembrance Day, how we, or on Veterans Day, how we would honor those who have fought and lost their lives in war times and things like that. It's a similar thing to me. It's like there's a certain time of year where those of us who happen to be practicing pagan in some format, or eclectic witches in some format, might feel like it's appropriate to honor our beloved departed during the Samhain season. But I think it's the same gesture regardless of when and how you're doing it. And I'd like to think that if I was cruising around up in the spirit world and somebody was doing something along a Christian timeline to honor me, that it would be just as special. You know what I mean? I kind of feel like we lose a lot of that dogma in the spirit world. I kind of feel like once we're moving on, it's like, we're good. We understand at that point, like Carrie was saying. So yeah, a lot of ancestor work around this time of year. Also, I tend to do or refresh more protection magic for the home around this time of the year. So one really fun craft that you can do, and I'm thinking of doing a video on it at some point, is witches bottles or witches balls. It always sounds funny when I say it like that. Making some witches balls. But witches balls are, I know, I'm such a child, are a really fun thing to do. They're an easy craft, and they're basically just, you take a glass or plastic. I like to use glass when I can find it, but I'm also accident prone, so I do plastic a lot. But they're just hollow Christmas ornaments that you can get at craft stores. Or you can get little hanging jars, or jars that have little loops on them, or you can take a jar and you can drill a hole or two in the lid to put a piece of twine or rope through so that you can hang it. But essentially, witches balls are just a spell work that you can do, kind of like a sachet, where you load it up with this. Thank you, Carrie, for getting my childish humor. But you can load them up with protective herbs and salts and sigils, or anything you want to put in there that is protective for your home, and then you can hang them up. They're wonderful ward magic to do around this time of the year. So I really enjoy things like that. Yeah. What did Mark say? Or Leanne? In Canada, we do not celebrate Day of the Dead, at least not where I am. Yeah, I don't think I've encountered any Day of the Dead festivals up here.
No.
No.
Not really a thing. But
I'm aware of them more online. Anyways, yeah, witches balls are a lot of fun, and they're such an easy witchy craft to do, right? So anything else though too, like some people like to lay salt across their windowsills and their doorsteps and things like that, and they just refresh that at certain times of the year, or sometimes more frequently, once a month. You can do herbal door washes and window washes as types of spirit protection or negative energy protection. But I kind of associate this time of year with sort of beefing up spiritual home security. You know what I mean? That's one of the things that I tend to think about around this time of the year. But honestly, when it comes down to actually figuring out how I'm going to celebrate and what I'm going to do, my Samhain rituals usually look like locking myself up in a room by myself and lighting candles, casting circle, doing some divination, doing some shadow work, possibly scrying, usually listening to some really witchy music. I really like Laura Powers. She has a song. Let's see if I can find it. I think she literally has a song about Samhain. And she says it kind of funny. She says Samhain, I think is how she pronounces it during the song. But it's a really pretty witchy. Laura Powers. Okay, so I'm getting the Simpsons character. Not what I want. Let's try this. Laura Powers, Samhain. Samhain Madrigal. That's the name of the song. Samhain Madrigal. Let me grab a link to it. Oh, it pulled me to YouTube Music because that's where I have my music at. I wonder if it'll let me look up a video that I could link. Let's check. And yeah, let me know if you guys have any specific questions about either my practice at Samhain or Samhain in general. B, my grandma said she used to celebrate Halloween for 3 days. One day was just for burning things and maybe a bit of mischief. Oh my God, that is the best quote ever. Please write that down somewhere if you haven't already for yourself, because that is epic. I love that so much. Okay, here is Laura Power's Samhain Madrigal. Let's keep it from playing. I'm going to put it here in the chat. Oh, that is not what I wanted to paste. No, go back. Wow, I am terrible at this today. Okay, here we go. That is the Laura Powers. I have all of her albums downloaded. I love listening to her when I'm doing ritual. I also love Lorena McKennett. The Mummers Dance, that first witchy album, is just everything to me. Amalthea says, should I be casting a circle when doing shadow work? It depends on what your shadow work looks like and what feels comfortable to you. And whether or not you feel like you have sort of permanent sacred and safe space set up. Hi, Zane. So my question is sometimes I'm doing some quick and dirty shadow work when I'm just throwing down cards and doing some journaling. And sometimes shadow work goes a lot deeper. So if I'm doing if I want to go deep, I usually cast circle. And that's mostly because I'm literally asking to confront the deep, dark parts. And I like to feel that extra layer of sort of spiritual or energetic security. It just makes me feel more comfortable, I suppose. But most of my shadow work is out of circle. I would say most of it is throwing down cards in a spread, journaling about those cards. And that's where I'm getting a lot of my shadow work done. But a lot of times shadow work to me is like bits and pieces in everyday life that's sort of interwoven with everything else. To me, shadow work becomes a practice of almost daily, when you can do it, of daily self-awareness, right? Recognizing when you're in your patterns that aren't serving you, that sort of thing. But you can go even deeper with shadow work. You can do meditation style shadow work, which I would not recommend for the faint of heart, where you are intentionally going onto the astral to have a little chat with your shadow self. That can be really intense. Ooh, good question, Carrie. So Carrie asks, how do you feel about hexing and spell work for revenge? I personally don't feel comfortable with hexing in general. I should say there are exceptions to that. And I also don't feel comfortable with revenge anything, but particularly I've never felt the need or desire to do revenge magic. That being said, I think there's definitely a place for some of the darker magic. I think there's definitely a place for protection. And sometimes that protection is like, I think I've described this before. Like it's one thing to shield yourself, and then it's something else to shield yourself and like add like energetic thorns or spikes to your shield, right? So if somebody's really trying to do you harm, they hit the spikes, right? It's a little different. It's a little less innocuous, a little less gentle. So I think sometimes that more fierce kind of protection is necessary, but to me, it's always from a defensive place and not an offensive place. I don't feel good ethically for me personally about doing offensive dark magic or offensive hexing. Anything where it's like what is the word I'm looking for? Proactive. I don't believe in proactive dark magic. I feel I'm more of a reactive in that way. Actually, that's not entirely true. It's not really proactive. Preemptive? Because I'm happy to be proactive if I feel like there's something negative coming my way to protect against it, but I don't want to be the one making that first icky move. You know what I mean? But that, again, totally from my me place. I don't have a lot of opinions about other people who do hexes and things like that. I also believe, my spiritual belief is that you can't really be cursed or hexed unless you kind of invite that energy in. So, for example, I think sometimes when we struggle with our sense of self-worth, or we think we're deserving of bad things happening to us, we are sort of vulnerable to that kind of magic. But typically, I think that you have to be a participant to be directly affected by somebody else's magic. That's my own personal opinion, or I guess take on it. Is the harvest full moon tonight? Oh my God, it looked so freaking stunning last night. It was huge and orangey yellow and just gorgeous. And it's so interesting to me how those really spectacularly extra witchy moons always seem to happen at this time of the year. It's everything. It's everything to me. I love them. And it's also interesting to me. I was driving into work this morning and I was noticing the fog along the water. Hi, E. And I was like, look at that. It's like specifically this time of year when we get that gorgeous fog. Carrie says, do you believe revenge magic backfires? I don't know, because I haven't really got a lot of direct experience with revenge magic or really known anybody to talk about revenge magic. I think that in general, if it depends on how the other person sort of protects themselves, right? If you're sending something, okay, like for example, my shielding is almost always mirrored in some way. In other words, if somebody sends me some nasty, my personal shielding is set up so that it will bounce back to them. Like that's the whole point. So I personally think that to a certain degree you reap what you sow. I don't know that it's something that I think is a very clear-cut direct thing where like you wish this particular bad thing to happen to somebody and then that particular bad thing happens to you. I think it's a lot more general than that. But I do think in general you reap what you sow. Samhain is a blue moon this year too, because we just had a full moon. So then the Samhain moon will be our blue moon. That's so cool. And there's 2 different definitions of blue moon, which is really interesting. So there's, maybe this already came up in chat and I missed it, but there is a blue moon is the second full moon in a month, which can be the calendar month, or it can be the astrological month. So a lot of times it's the second full moon while the sun is in one sign. Oh man, I'm going to screw that up. But there's like an astrological definition, and then there's one that's associated with the calendar month. So very exciting. And I feel like last year, didn't we also have like an eclipse or something? It was like a blue moon and an eclipse. Do you remember?
Before we had the eclipse.
Was it a year before?
Well, there's an eclipse almost every year. So we haven't had
Bye,
one
Michelle.
here. There was an eclipse last year, but we haven't had one here for like 3 years, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had some notes too, because there was something else I was going to mention during this chat. Forgive me for the super casualness tonight. I was just like, let's just hang out and chat about Samhain. So exciting about the blue moon. Yeah. Totally exciting. So, that was something else I thought was really interesting. So when I was thinking about I mentioned before how Beltane is exactly opposite us. So for example, the Southern Hemisphere is in Beltane right now, but that is exactly across the wheel from us, right? So it's interesting to me because Beltane is a festival that is a fire festival that's very passionate and fiery and fertile. And those are its associations, right? It's one of my other favorites because it's got such an intensity to it. And Samhain is almost like exactly the same way, except for if you can imagine, if Beltane is like fiery potency, then Samhain is like the kind of potency where we're turning that inward, almost like we're going back into the dark half of the year. We're going back into the womb, or I guess you could say if Beltane is birth and Samhain is death, almost like that. They feel energetically so different, but equally potent, which I think is really, really cool. Carrie says, what else services do you offer? I know tarot readings. What else? Currently, that's it, is divination readings. I have past life readings, which is I don't use tarot for. I use my soul cards, and I use an oracle deck for that, and I sometimes go off the cuff with it a bit. I may pull in sometimes I'll pull in the Luminous Void Tarot for that kind of spiritual work or energetic work. Oh, you mean like, I gotcha. I haven't done any of those things. I wouldn't call it a service for others, but I do work with pendulums. So I work with pendulums. I do some scrying. I've done a bunch of that kind of stuff, but I haven't offered it to clients before. I can't think of a situation. Lenormand, for sure, I've done that for clients. Do you teach tarot? I would like to. I've kind of got it in the back of my head that I may do that at some point in the not too distant future. So keep your eyes on this space because that's something I would really love to do. I love teaching in general. I've taught other things. I've taught yoga. I've taught workshops on topics that I'm really passionate about. Lots of stuff around self-worth, as you guys know. So yeah, I would love to do a more formal tarot course that I could offer. I think that'd be really exciting. And I do. So Maisie, Meg, do you ever combine pendulums and tarot? I love combining divination systems. Love it. I love putting out a spread and casting runes on it. I love putting out a spread and using a pendulum on it. I think pendulums can be amazing, especially if you're feeling like if you do an either or sort of approach to a question and you have, say, 2 columns, you can use a pendulum swing to determine. Oh, good. Thanks, you guys. Oh, that's good, because that's totally something I'm planning. I'm actually planning a video series probably for December, where we're going to dive into some sort of like basics, and then I may take it deeper and put it into a proper course as well. So I'll probably do 2 layers. That's the goal. That's the goal. We'll see how I get with all the things that I have going on right now, but that is the plan. Yay, that would be fun. Yeah, I'd really like to. You guys are the best. It's good for my ego now. I actually feel like I'm blushing. You were live, Dylan? Fun. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm really excited, and I've already got the format. In fact, the format for my for sort of the initial tarot series I have in my head has been in my head for like 6 to 8 months now. I just haven't had the time to sit down and film it yet. Both you and the pendulum are confused. Okay, so here's the thing for me with pendulums. I have had very good, solid experiences with my pendulums when I'm using them to give me an either or, yes, no answer, and that is it. I really have struggled. I've tried working with pendulum boards where like it can like, depending, I guess, on how it swings, it can go to yes or maybe or no or I don't know, like I've seen pendulum boards where there's like letters, and I'm like, how do you do that? Because when I learned to use a pendulum, I learned to use it over top of my palm, and it always feels really potent, and hold the pendulum, and if it swings counterclockwise, for me, it's counterclockwise for me is a no, clockwise for me is a yes. And so I've used pendulums like that for 20 years. So whenever I have like a board or something, I'm like, what, huh? What do you mean? I don't understand. What am I supposed to do with this? So when I've done it with tarot, it's typically been, like I said, if I've got like a spread and it's showing me, or I've thrown tarot cards down and I'm feeling like I'm getting 2 options or I'm getting pulled in 2 directions, the pendulum's really great to go, okay, swing this way for this direction, swing that way for the other direction, kind of like a yes, no, and I can use it that way. You can also swing it over your cards too and see what happens. I really like casting runes over my cards. I've been playing with that more and more recently, so that's been really exciting and fun. Lily of the Valley, just enjoyed learning from a pendulum class using a lot of charts for every different situation and questions. Excellent class. Oh, that's good to know. Poet's Tarot Corner, made my own pendulum board and found it easier to create a language of my own with it using tarot for clarification. Oh, that's exciting. Yeah, I would love to hear more about that. Amaltheus says, my pendulum clockwise and counterclockwise are yes, up to down, or left to right is no. And it's interesting to me how it's different for everybody, or it can be different for everybody. Oh, Drop of Golden Tear, I still have to go and watch your rune series with Dawn Michelle. Yeah. It's, in fact, we're supposed to have another live soon. We've just been in casting. The Facebook group, what's nice about that is that if you do join the Facebook group or you have Facebook, all of the like posts with all the information about each rune and all the things we've been doing are all organized in units, which is amazing. Carolina says, hi, will you do more spell videos? I really enjoy them. I love making those too. I'm trying to get out at least one a month. That's been my goal lately. We did the mindful eating spell candle in September, and I have a couple special things coming in October as part of that Walking the Self-Worth Path series. Carrie says, I think I would enjoy my pendulum more if I made my own pendulum board too. Yeah. Okay, so somebody needs to teach me how to use Discord because I literally have no freaking clue. I feel like I'm really old because I don't get Discord at all.
You're ancient.
You're ancient. Peggy's more ancient than me. She has no right to call me ancient. Jennifer says, do you incorporate magic into your cooking? Yes, when I cook. I don't cook very much. I'm pretty spoiled. That'd be great, Amalthea. Yeah. And it might be that Discord is better than Facebook. I don't know. I mean, as it is, I'll be honest, I don't even spend as much time on my own Facebook group as I could. Carrie says, hi, Peggy.
Hi, everybody.
Oh, good. Jen can help me too. Oh, yay. B says, I was just watching Danny Mystic's Tower spell video. It opened up a whole new world. Danny's magical spell work kind of witchy videos are freaking amazing. I love them so much. And if you guys don't already know, her tarot deck pre-orders just opened today. So if you haven't seen the Mystic Masters Tarot, go look at it. She's got a full walkthrough. Pre-orders are open right now. She's already got orders rolling in. So get you over there and get your copy because I think she's got it on discount during the pre-order period. So Don't miss out. I will definitely be doing a walkthrough once I get my copy in. Yeah, Facebook is challenging. It's not my favorite place. I really do like YouTube. It's my favorite social media. And I spend a little tiny infinitesimally small amount of time on Instagram. Very tiny, very tiny. In fact, it's bad. People will message me on Instagram like 3 days later. I'll be like, oh, hi, which I know is not how Instagram works. Oh, Emily says Discord isn't too tricky. You have different tabs on the side for different chats, so you could have a general chat and then individual categories for other topics of conversation. Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Is it more or less? Do you feel like it's more or less? How do I say that? Like, I feel like Facebook can be a bit of a free-for-all. So it's like more or less of a free-for-all in Discord. Like how, you know what I mean. Oh, thanks, E. I'm at the end of tank top season. Soon it's going to be cuddly sweaters and stuff. You guys are so fun. Oh, by the way, have you guys heard there's a new Craft movie coming out? They're redoing the Craft, or it's like called The Craft Legacy or something. Kind of excited about that. I just watched a preview. It looked fun. I'm kind of excited. Also, I feel like I'm caught up on The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, but is there going to be more? I don't know. Oh, thanks, Lily of the Valley. Yeah, I prefer YouTube too. I like it. But you know what? Can we please not talk about that movie? Oh, is it controversial? If it's controversial, I'll change the subject real damn quick. I don't do controversy. I just don't. But I do like all the fun witchy movies. Oh, that's fair. That's fair. I get what you mean. I am actually really disloyal to originals. I love remakes. I don't know why. I think it's because I can compartmentalize them quite a bit. Controversial to those of us who hate remakes of our favorite movies. I freaking love remakes. I don't always like the remake. Do you know what I mean? But I look at it as a new thing. Kind of like how I didn't expect Chilling Adventures of Sabrina to be anything like Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Or like, I still haven't watched the new Charmed. I kind of want to. But I'm assuming it's going to be nothing like the original Charmed. So I'm not coming at it from that place of like it needs to be like the original. Like I'm loving, as you guys probably have heard, the new She-Ra. I'm literally all over the place in this chat. But I'm loving the new She-Ra. And it's nothing like what I remember of the original. Dylan, I think it'll suck. It might. It might suck. My bar, you guys, for good entertainment, though, is pretty low. I'm not going to lie. Peggy sometimes gets exasperated with me at just about anything. I like just about anything. I'm very not picky. It has to be really bad, like really bad, for me to have a bad time watching a movie. Sometimes it's just interesting to see what someone else's idea of an original is. Yeah. Yeah, like you guys, I watch children's TV and cartoons. Like I'm very not discerning about what I watch. I don't watch very much, but I'm also very not picky. Very not picky, not very picky. Wow, guys. I am all over the place, but I appreciate all the chatter and questions because I literally came so unprepared. I'm like, I just really like Samhain. And I was like, what am I going to say besides I really like doing tarot around Samhain? I have lots of fun decks that I play with around this time of year. And if I could actually get everything together, I could actually talk about all the decks that I'm going to be working with. I can give you a quick rundown, although I don't have any of them here next to me. I have one of them next to me because I was playing with it before this video. But have you guys seen this, what is this actually called? This is called the Halloween Oracle. Have you seen this one? Coco is fantastic. Oh, that's good because that's on my list of things I want to watch. This is actually trimmed because it's a Blue Angel deck. It's got these backings, and I edged mine in orange and black. This is a really cute, like, Halloween themed or Samhain themed Oracle deck. Love this. Look at this apple. I love this deck though. This is fun. And I definitely play with this every Samhain season since I've got it. I think I got it last year, so that's, you know, every Samhain season. Played with it last year. I'm gonna play with it again this year. Random questions are totally fine. Have you ever had a deck just not like you? I got a new deck a month or so ago and I don't think it likes me. This is kind of a tricky question, actually, Amalthea, because it kind of depends on whether how you define, first of all, whether you personify your decks or not, like whether you feel like they have their own personality and energy, or whether you sort of half personify them and that the art has a certain tone to it, it has a certain bias, it has a certain personality that way, but it's not sentient, that kind of thing. And I'm kind of in that non-sentient category. However, I was actually recently having a fun chat with Dustin and Danny, and I do think decks can hold energy, and certain energy could be incompatible with your energy. And I think that could be specific not just to like that deck, any copy of that deck, but it could be specific to your copy of that deck. So it depends. Is this a secondhand deck that you've gotten that may need a good cleanse? Or is this a deck that just you feel like you're like not communicating, like almost like it's speaking a different language than you? Because I've certainly had that experience where I get a deck, I'm sure I'm going to like it, and then I pull it out, and for whatever reason, it's flat. It's completely flat. It's like it's not talking to me. I've definitely had that experience. Oh, Poet Circle, you did a great job trimming it. It's a great deck. I learned all my trimming from Dawn Michelle. You guys should see some of the trims I did before I started watching her videos. There's something. It's giving cards that you don't understand. Yeah. So do you mind me asking which deck out of curiosity? Mostly because I'm nosy. You don't actually have to tell me. Jennifer, Roots and Wings is an independent oracle deck that's really lovely. And very intuitive, that deck, and very tarot-like. If you want like a very tarot-like oracle deck, one that feels like it has very on-point messages, that's a good one. Light Seers, oh, interesting. Yeah, I've had that experience with decks before. Oftentimes, two things can happen. You know how, I'm going to make a really funny analogy, but you know how if you're getting to know somebody online, for example, and you build up all these expectations about what they're going to be like in person, and then you finally get it, and they can't possibly live up because you have this sort of image in your head. Or how if you read a book and the characters have a certain voice in your head, and then you watch a movie based on that book and the characters are totally different and not how you imagine them at all. I think some decks I've had that experience with, where maybe because there's been a long pre-order period, or I've waited a long time to get it, or I've sort of built it up in my mind, by the time I get it, it's just, oh, this is just cardstock on paper. It's just ink on paper. It's can't possibly live up. I did have a bit of that experience with Light Seers myself, partly because, just a bit, I still enjoy that deck and I get great messages from it, but by the time I got it in my hands, I'd had too much in my head, too much excitement almost, so that it kind of couldn't live up to it. Holly, my Spacious Tarot doesn't like me, but loves my partner. It's a bit better now, but when I first got it, it was so rude and sassy. You know, the rudest deck I ever worked with, I don't have it anymore because it was a brat, which shouldn't surprise me, was the Beautiful Creatures Tarot. That deck was sassy and bratty, but in the not nice way. Lots of personality. Was not one that was meant to stay in my collection. And the Deviant Moon calls me out on my crap all the time, but isn't mean about it, even though I feel like it could be. And again, this is just how you're interpreting the artwork and how you're interpreting the messages, right? At least to me. And yeah, TC's Life, I have decks that just don't resonate. Yeah, totally. So my favorite, let me spit these out because I'll probably definitely share them at the end of October as well. But I'm going to be working with, in fact, I just wrote it down because I was kind of just planning out. I like to plan out what decks I'm going to work with during October because I want to make sure to squeeze in all my favorites during Samhain season. So I'm going to be working with the Shadowland Tarot, I think, this month. I'm also going to be working with the Zombie Tarot, of course, which is probably my #1 favorite Halloween season deck. The Halloween Oracle that I was just showing you guys some images from. I'm going to work with my Halloween Tarot, my Bohemian Gothic, my Deviant Moon. Those are going to be the ones that I'm like definitely trying to squeeze in. Hi, Raven Morning Glory. Dylan says, I vibed with the Prisma Visions Tarot when I got it. Okay, so I have a story about that. But now I don't feel connected to it, but I think I just need to cleanse it and play with it a bit more. Yeah, I got that deck when it was newer, rehomed it, but when I backed the Cosmovisions, I backed to get that deck back again. You gotta be careful with that. Don't be too quick to rehome. Shadowland, I have mixed feelings about. I really loved it when I first got it in, but I'm not sure. We'll see how we do. It might have been the season when I first got it in. And part of it is the cardstock. I am not a fan of that cardstock. There's something about it that just bugs me. I haven't been able to put my finger on it yet. But I sanded off all the gilding, which I hated. And now it's kind of like mostly ungilded with black edging where some gilding is peeking out. I don't know. It's one of those, I don't know. So Shadowland may be not sticking around. We'll see how it does in October. But look at me scratching myself. They're like left marks. Yep. Poets Tarot Corner says Prisma Visions is one of the best storytelling. Shadowland is a bit busy. I wonder if that's what it is. It's also kind of creepy in ways. And it's funny because I say that, and yet I love my Deviant Moon Tarot. So you're still waiting on your last... Did you order the last unicorn deck? I thought you already had it, Amalthea. Why do I think that? I mean, obviously your name, but I could have swore you had that deck already. Oh, I love that you guys are asking questions. This is fun. I don't have to like stay on topic. This is great. TC's Life, do you use many Oracle decks or mainly Tarot? I use a lot of Oracle. I have more Tarot because I'm much pickier about Oracle, especially these days. But I almost always work with one Tarot and one Oracle every week, which means my Oracle tends to cycle through quicker than my Tarot does. So I tend to revisit Oracle decks a little quicker than I tend to revisit my Tarot decks, depending on what they are. I'm incredibly picky about Oracle because I really want them to have a very specific and different kind of energy or personality to them, something that will support my tarot readings. So yeah, I'm a little all over the place with Oracle, but I do love working with Oracle decks. And a lot of my spiritual decks tend to be Oracle decks, ones that I use as part of my spiritual practice. I tend to use a lot of Oracle for that. There's only currently one tarot, I think, that I'm specifically using in spiritual practice. Amalthea, Geekify is taking 5 million years. Well, that sounds familiar because the Kickstarter also took 5 million years and their communication sucked. One of my not so fun Kickstarter experiences. Yeah, there was a lot of venting. There was a lot of off-camera venting about that experience. Okay. Yeah, it was not a good experience. The quality of it, outstanding. Love the deck.
And didn't they start releasing other decks at conventions before the Kickstarter was even done?
No, but they just took on too many projects in between. Well, so yeah. It looks like, yeah. Oh, it still sucks. Yeah, I don't know. It would take a lot for me to buy something from them again. But I do love my last Unicorn Tarot so much. Do you have a Lenormand deck you use for this time of year? Why, yes, actually. I have the House of Shadows Lenormand, which is by Monica Bodersky, the creator of the Shadowland Tarot. And I'm going to be working with those two together probably this week. Yeah, starting Saturday, I'm going to be working with Shadowland Tarot and House of Shadows Lenormand together for a week to kick off my Samhain season deck play. So I'll probably have them both out during my, if you guys don't know, let me interrupt myself. If you are not subscribed to my second channel, Tarot with Lisa, make sure you're subscribed to it. There's a link in the description box down below. I've been doing spontaneous tarot reading live streams. So whatever decks I am working with usually are in that rotation. So for example, I'm working with the Ember and Aura Tarot this week. So the last live stream that I had the Ember and Aura Tarot handy. Same thing when I switched to Shadowland Tarot. So during October, when I'm doing those free live readings on my other channel, I'll be bringing along whatever fun Samhain themed, Halloween themed decks that I'm currently working with and having them in the pile next to me that I use to do those live readings with. So yeah, Miss Kristen, just found your second channel the other day. Love it. I didn't say a whole lot about it when I first started it, but I initially started it because I wanted a place to sort of park my tarot reading content and have that separate so it didn't clutter up this space, because I already make a lot of videos. As you guys know, I really enjoy content creation. It's really a fun creative outlet for me, so I love making videos, but I was trying to like not make so many that you guys are like, seriously, like another video from Lisa? So I had to compartmentalize it out a little bit. Oh, you haven't seen it, Lily of the Valley? Oh, it's really cute. It's really cute. Lucy, I've got my last unicorn cards for Christmas last year. Found out about them on Lisa's channel and almost died. Yeah, I gushed and gushed. If you haven't seen my walkthrough, I was like, hard not to roast Geekify during that walkthrough. I restrained myself. Okay, so Gracia, the bell. Okay, so here's the thing with the bell. I mean, you're more likely to get a notification than not if you click the bell, but it's very sporadic. I've been trying to remember to post when I'm going live in the Facebook group or on Instagram or somewhere else so that you can see that it's happening. But I'm very spontaneous. So like I might know that I'm going to go live like 5-10 minutes beforehand, sometimes like an hour. It's usually like, oh, hey, I'm in a good energetic space. I'm going to go live. So it's very all over the place. But if it helps you any, I have tended to go live around this same time of the evening. So like I'd say 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. I've tried to go live most Friday nights. Not every single one, but most Friday nights I've been going live lately. And then usually sometime in the late morning, early afternoon on the weekend, either Saturday or Sunday, are the times I'm most likely to do it. I wish I could give you a schedule, but I'm not that regimented about it. TC's Life asks, are you planning to create your own deck? I am so ready to create my own deck. I have a million ideas. I need an artist and the right kind of pairing there, the right kind of chemistry, but I would love to create a tarot deck. I would love it. I would love it. I just have to, like I said, I'd have to find the right artist to partner with and come up with, it would definitely have that heavy self-worth themes for sure. I'd love to see Lisa deck. Lisa wants to create a deck. What did I miss? My internet cut out, Marion. Oh, we're just literally gabbing. This is our Samhain chit chat, but really it's just whatever. Yeah, I'm not in a hurry for the deck, but I feel like it'll happen at some point. It's just a matter of when, and like I said, partnering with the right artist and figuring out what that's going to look like. But yes, absolutely. Oh, Dylan, is there any other places we can contact you that is not YouTube, like IG? Yeah, I'm on Instagram at Supportive Tarot. I'm not as zippy about communicating over there, and I always respond to emails too. So you can always email me at tarotwithlisa@gmail.com if you just want to touch base. But if you want to like follow me, I'm on Instagram at Supportive Tarot. I have a Facebook page, Supportive Tarot, which is basically the same content as what's on my Instagram. Those two are basically synced. I did hear that, Holly. That it's exciting. I don't know if I'll be able to go this coming up here. It's going to just depend on how things play out. But I really enjoyed speaking at last year's event. So we'll have to see how it all shakes out. Amalthea, Newt's is Northwest Tarot Symposium. So it's the tarot event that happens in the Portland, Oregon area, usually in the spring, but next year they're having it around October time. So it's supposed to happen around that part of the year. But again, I don't know. We don't really know what's going to happen with travel.
Well, the border isn't even open right now.
Yeah, our border is like legit closed, and I don't think it's opening anytime soon. Oh, Amalthea, roasting Geekify. That's what you missed. There was a little bit of roasting of Geekify. Hi, Dustin. I'm super not on topic. No, it has coffee that I'm not drinking because I keep talking. That's the thing. I thought about wine, but Peggy and I have to possibly run out to the store to get some more soft food. She's recovering from dental work. And I was like, well, I've got to be the adult and drive. So I did say there was going to be wine on Glide, but I'm a liar because I was like, well, I might have to drive. So no wine. I feel like I missed another question. Ooh, Ink and Flame. At Gracie, the bell has a setting for all, and if that's not set, you won't get all of them, just some. Oh, that's a very good point. I keep forgetting about that. Yeah, you can set the notifications to all videos, which will notify you of everything, or it'll be like highlights or something, which will just sort of pick and choose based on your watch history what it thinks you want to be notified about. That's a very good point. And also, if you click the bell and you watch YouTube mostly on your cell phone or your tablet, what ends up happening is that if you don't have your notifications, your push notifications turned on your tablet or your phone, like to allow YouTube to actually put the notifications through, you won't get them either. Gasp, point fingers, lies. I know. I love doing wine for these, but we'll have another live stream where I unbox my Witch's Roots box in a couple weeks. So we'll do that. We'll do that one. The lies were sparkly. Ooh, mochi for soft food. There you go, honey. You can have. I should not have too many sticky foods either. Though.
Oh yeah, I can't. Yeah, I'm just whiny right now. It's fine.
She was sad because she wanted to have a peanut butter sandwich, but there was no bread. So I was like, "Do you want to go get bread after my live?" She's like, "Maybe." Okay. So I know this was not a terribly informative Samhain live chat. But I was a little all over the place.
One from last year, though.
Do I have a Samhain chat from last year? I don't think I do. I do have a Sabbat chat where we talk about all the different Sabbats. I don't remember. But again, I don't remember half the stuff I do.
I don't remember yesterday, so it's fine.
Let's see. We talked about the dumb supper. We talked about divination, spirit and ancestors, pumpkin carving. Yeah, I've hit all the main points. I'm sure there's more. Dustin was baited. Dustin just wants me to drink wine because then I get ridiculous. I'm ridiculous all the time. More ridiculous, I know. Alex says, I just wanted to say thank you for making the second channel. All of your readings lately have been spot on. Oh, thank you. Also, you're welcome. I'm sorry, what did you say?
So you can't have wine because you have to be the grown-up this week.
Like I can't have wine, period, or I just can't have wine right now?
Right now, because you have to be the grown-up this week.
Right. But then once I no longer have to grown up for the day, like once I no longer have to drive, then I can have wine. She is notably silent now.
I'm just ignoring you now.
Oh, that sounds uncomfortable, Dylan.
I've been hitting the face with a 2x4.
She does. She looks like I beat her. She said she was going to go on YouTube and say that I beat her.
Yeah, that would have been so much fun. Or what? No, going down though.
Yeah, I didn't beat you. That was the dentist.
Telling everybody that you
did. Dentist beat you. That was not me. It's only the first. You can do another one. I could. I'd have to come up with more to say. I love reading, and I love doing the live readings. It's really fun because I get to go quick fire, and I love that. I love doing client readings too. You know what? It's fun because when you're reading for yourself, at least when I'm reading for myself, it only goes to a certain spot because at a certain point, it's harder to listen to my pure intuition when I'm reading for myself. But when I'm reading for somebody else, even in that quick fire sort of live chat environment, it's just like I get right into the intuition. I don't second guess it. So it's a lot of fun. Amalthea says, you could talk about the history of Samhain. No, y'all, ask Dustin. I literally glided earlier today and I was like, I'm not good with the history stuff. Like, could you just come on my live chat and educate people? Because I don't do the history thing. You're going to have, if you want that real good stuff, that real good knowledge stuff. I love listening to other people talk about the history of Sabbats. But for me, it's all of my practice is experiential, right? It's like, what do I do at this time of year? I was going to say I divinate. That's what I do. I divinate. I don't think you can use that as a verb, can you? Hun, is that a word?
What?
You know how divination is like card reading and rune reading and whatever, right? Can I say I divinate? Is that a proper way to express that?
I think it is a real word.
It might be. Well, that's what I do. So I do lots of divination. Do I think trick-or-treating should be canceled this year? I think that's going to have to be parents' personal choice. Honestly, I can't see a lot of people doing trick-or-treating. Although when Peggy and I, if you watched our vlog at the Spirit Halloween store, I don't think they made these for this year specifically, but they had these like candy buckets where you could like, oh, divine. Divine is the verb, not divinate. I'm such a dork. Anyways, they had these like candy buckets that were like on an arm. So you could like stick out the arm at a distance and drop in the candy. That could be a way to do it with a little bit more distance. Maybe some cute. And also, honestly, you're wearing masks at Halloween anyway. So you just wear a mask and put another mask over top of it. Breathing might be, extra fun, but it's fine. B says, I'm just getting started reading for others. I'm scared. You know what the funny thing is, B, is that little bit of butterflies can be good because of that sort of adrenaline-y thing can help you connect with your intuition. But say what you're thinking. That's one of the best pieces of advice I could give you. Not that you asked for my advice. I'm sharing it anyways. Maisie Meg says, any thoughts on a Christian and pagan relationship working out? I've had a few conversations and debates with my partner. They're mostly positive with us respecting each other's beliefs. I think it depends. I mean, I think that any two spiritual path people could have a successful relationship. It's just about whether or not you can agree enough on the basic fundamental things that you need to agree on, like how you're going to raise your children, for example, or where you're going to be at certain times of the year. But most of the time, I feel like different spiritual paths in a relationship, it's mostly about not being afraid to say, this is what I need to honor my path, you do you, and like respecting each other and not trying to change each other's minds. I think that's honestly a big part of it. Oh, Sue says she has the candy in a bucket at her gate every year, so that works. Yeah. So probably not going to, oh, I'm sorry. What is the name of the channel that you said you have when you're reviewing new decks you're using? Oh, I do my deck reviews here on this channel. So here is where I will do walkthroughs and things like that. But the second channel that I have is where I read with decks that I'm actively using. So I do free readings, like live stream kind of reading nights where I just go live and I just read for people randomly in the chat room. I do that. And then I also do month ahead. I did the month ahead this month with the Halloween tarot. So that's up on my second channel. And the second channel is called Tarot with Lisa. Let me just pull that up, actually, and I'll give you a link. It's also in the description box down below, but let me just pop it in the chat for you. Is it going to come up? Probably not. Nope. I'm slow. Okay. This is my second channel, where I do my tarot readings. So I do pick a card readings over there. I do tarot by the book, which started on this channel and is now over there. So once a week I do that. And month ahead zodiac reading. This October one is up as of today. And I do live reading events. I'm trying to think, is there anything else? I do a What's Up in Love every couple of weeks. And question-based pick a cards once every couple of weeks. That about covers it. And live reading events. That's what I do over there. Good question, Maisie. So yeah, let me know if you guys have any other questions about either Samhain or just general stuff. I'm probably going to wrap up here in a few minutes so I can go get Peggy some bread. I'm going to go get her some bread. Well, and maybe some applesauce or pudding. Oh yeah, Discord. Okay, I will think about that. Honestly, if I'll be honest, I'm probably not going to start a whole nother social media thing right now. Depends, but I'll take a look at it at the very least and see what I think. Don't you do voice chats on Discord? I'm not sure how that works. I feel like it's voice. You're welcome, Lily of the Valley. Applesauce is so good. This is a good time of year for applesauce too. Yes. You can? Oh, okay, cool. Fun. Or you can do text, or both. Bread and soup for Peggy. She literally pulled out some soup.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Leanne. I don't know how to make it notify you. I mean, I guess the thing you could do, Three Thought Readers Discord would be fun. And then somebody else could be in charge of it. I say, looking pointedly at Dustin. What you doing, babe? Are you going to show off your face?
Proof of life.
Proof of life. Look,
Share.
You actually don't look that bad. You don't look that bad.
It's not bad.
Yesterday was way worse.
Yeah.
It was way swollen yesterday.
It's not bad. It's just that I had like 3 things done, which isn't a lot, but I had it all done on the same side.
The second side is later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be fine.
She'll be okay.
I'm just a little whiny.
I've heard good things about Mighty Network. What's Mighty Network? Bye, Poets Tarot Corner.
Okay, I'm going away again because my God, I'm cranky today.
Just today?
Crankier than usual.
Crankier than usual.
You guys know that's bad.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. We're going to wrap this one up anyways. I know this was not very productive, but it was fun to hang out with you guys. And
that means it was productive.
There you go. That's true. If you guys are watching this back later and are like, but what about Samhain? I'm sorry. And thank you for watching anyways. And please feel free to comment down below with some of your favorite Samhain tips or bits of history or lore or links or resources. I think there's some great stuff. I just wanted to chit chat about some of the things I like to do at this time of year. I hope you guys have a great night. And I will probably be doing live readings in the next couple of days on my second channel. If you are, thank you. It's literally this Nivea Blackberry lip balm. Anyways, if you guys want to tune in for that, make sure that your notifications are on when they work. They're great. Just make sure you click all when you click the little bell so that it gives you all the notifications and not just the ones that thinks you want. So yeah, take good care, everybody. I hope you guys have an amazing Samhain month. I hope you have a great October and enjoy all the spooky fun and magical things this month. I will see you guys all again very soon. Thank you so much. May your magic always shine from the inside out. Bye, guys.